So if you guys are familiar with Channel 5, hosted by this guy named Andrew Callaghan, he's kind of known for having these very comedic interviews with people at like music festivals and ragers. He's kind of gotten to the news lately because he ended up doing an interview with Alex Jones. However, I think that sort of notoriety put him into the spotlight of the mainstream media. He got to deal with A24, who then got to deal with HBO to kind of like make something with him, some sort of film or something, and release it through HBO. And as part of the promotion for this, he went on an interview on CNN. Basically, this interview did not go how CNN expected it to go, I suppose. So this will be interesting to see.
Also, jury selection set to begin today for the trial of former Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio. The far-right group leader has been charged with seditious conspiracy in the January 6th.
Yo, I'm shocked that they're charging Enrique Tarrio because he's a Fed. Like he's basically like an FBI plant into the organization, and he like ran the Proud Boys for like at least a year prior to the whole January 6th thing. So I'm both surprised and impressed that he is getting charged, because he should be getting charged.
Capital attack, he denies the charges.
Our next guest actually spent time with him in the days leading up to January 6th. It's all on camera as well for a new HBO documentary.
In 2020, it got super serious. Protests, pandemics.
Basically, it's slavery.
Remember that?
We think that they're trying to steal our election. All you have are personal attacks. Info war, not physical war.
My name's Andrew Callaghan. It led up to the January 6th Capitol riot. You ever feel like you've gone too far down the rabbit hole?
Oh, interesting.
So joining us now is the director, producer, and stars in this documentary called This Place Rules, which debuts on HBO December 30th, Andrew Callaghan. Andrew, I mean, this...
I just think it's hilarious that the host on the right has both a CNN mug and a Starbucks cup. That's kind of funny.
This is a deep dive into this.
He's like, I have to have my Christmas in a cup. I have to have it here with me. I can't just pour it out into my CNN mug. No.
But, you know, when it comes to what's happening today, Enrique Tarrio, he was not at the Capitol on the 6th, but he still played a role in this, and he's facing some of the most serious charges that are stemming from that day. What did you see from him as you were shooting this?
Yeah, I just talked to him in the lead up to the January 6th Capitol riot. Just hung out with him a little bit. And
yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Enrique Tarrio had to say and how obvious he was about like any potential violence that would occur on January 6th.
DC and Miami and elsewhere.
And what did you learn about him?
He sells T-shirts.
Fun fact, this is something I did not know.
He's the chairman of the Proud Boys. Yeah.
So
the awkward silence.
no details about his involvement, his state of mind, or anything?
I mean, I don't think the movie's not just about like the Capitol riot and all that. It's also about like media echo chambers. You know what I mean? And like the dangers of the 24-hour news cycle.
Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Let's keep going with this. This is interesting.
And how I think mainstream media like Fox and even CNN like competes for views by running constant 24-hour news cycles based upon fear, division, outrage, and panic, probably to like sell ads. So it's not just about the Capitol riot.
Yeah,
Yo, he's putting the whole media apparatus on blast there.
I'm not exactly sure. First of all, I don't agree with what you're saying, but I'm not exactly sure of how that played into people.
Also, I think that whole pattern exposes like, if you look at like independent folks, like generally speaking, at least at the moment, more people will be paying attention to independent media than mainstream media, but independent individuals usually don't have long-lived careers, I think, because they're not always talking about things that are like outrageous to their audience. And so, you know, they speak on one topic that people are outraged about, and then they talk about other things they're interested in, and the audience just moves on. Like Barry Weiss is a great example of this. She was very, very huge, the initial scandals revolving Twitter's censorship stuff and all the stuff that was going on with that. But then once that story kind of blew over, and you know, Joe Rogan had all the episodes about that he was going to have, nobody cared about Barry Weiss. She's back now releasing the Twitter files, but a lot of people don't even know who she was, even though she was, you know, a huge part of you know, what people were talking about when it came to the whole Twitter situation at the time, which was, I think, about like 4 or 5 years ago. So it just shows how much like independent individuals can sort of be like cast to the wind. Yes, CNN's ratings are going down. Yes, Fox News's ratings are going down. But, you know, they keep on hitting that point of, you know, constantly stoking that fear and outrage. And that's how, you know, they continue to survive and get lots of, you know, get lots of views. I think that's actually why, you know, you look at Hasanabi and you look at Steven Crowder, right? They both kind of, you know, follow that same model. Where if you look at someone like Destiny, who's far more reasonable than both of them, he has a fraction of the views because he's just being a normal dude. He's not, you know, stoking division and outrage.
So it's not just about the Capitol riot.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. First of all, I don't agree with what you're saying, but I'm not exactly sure of how that played into people going into the Capitol and.
Why is everything about January 6th? Like, yo, for liberals, like January 6th is like the current, like the 9/11 of our generation. I was actually talking with someone at a get together with some church folks. And the person was like, you know, we don't really have like a 9/11 for our generation. I'm like, yeah, January 6th. But it's like kind of funny because that's generally mostly for liberals and some moderates and maybe some Republicans too. But, you know, a lot of folks on the right don't seem to take it nearly as seriously as some folks on the left.
Rioting on January 6th. There's nothing fake about CNN.
Oh, no.
Now, Andrew Callaghan has to be careful because if you guys are familiar with the corporate structure of any of these entities involved, CNN is owned by the same company that owns HBO. So this movie is yet to be released. So he you know, I wonder if Andrew Callaghan is going to hedge anything he's saying based on that. Of course, he's got the backing of A24, so A24 probably at least has like a pretty good marketing push for it nonetheless. But
on January 6th, there's nothing fake about CNN.
I'm not saying like fake news. I'm just saying ramping people up and increasing division during that period of time.
That's true, because you don't have to lie to be manipulative. So, you know, CNN can be let's just say, let's pretend that CNN is a great news source. CNN could be telling the truth all the time, but only be focusing on things that are like gonna, you know, get people outraged.
Just watching people kind of fall down the rabbit hole and be pushed into action and like just falling down the conspiracy rabbit hole.
Yeah, I think more people would consider, you know, what's happening online and the.
They're doing literally what he's talking about. Like Andrew Callaghan's like, I want to talk about like conspiracy theories. I want to talk about like this wide array of topics, and he's like, no. You have to talk about either January 6th or you have to peddle censorship online. And Andrew Callaghan's like, this movie is about a lot of different things. Why do you only want to talk about like 1 or 2 different topics?
What happened with the former president and the messaging that he was putting out there and QAnon and so forth.
I definitely agree 100% with that as well.
Yeah. So listen, there are literally so many.
Like, dude was so thirsty. Don Lemon was so thirsty to get Andrew Callaghan to say that he agreed with him. Like, why? It doesn't add anything to like the content that they're like. It doesn't make this segment any more interesting. It doesn't make the segment any more informative. I don't really care if Andrew Callaghan believes these conspiracy theories or not, so long as when he's interviewing these people, he's fair and getting their perspective. Because heck yeah, I want to hear what the leader of the Proud Boys, what his mindset was, you know, days leading up to January 6th. I think that would be interesting. You know, I don't necessarily care, Andrew Callaghan's opinion of the matter, unless it's going to like color, how he carries out his journalism.
As well.
Yeah. So listen, there are literally so many jaw-dropping moments in your documentary, including a weightlifting scene with conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
Yeah, for sure. He can bench press a lot, actually.
Why would you put that in? Why'd you spend so much time with him, and why is he such a big part of this film?
Well, I mean, I just think that like whenever we were filming for the documentary, there was just certain moments that were super surreal that just kind of happened, and I felt like we had to kind of leave the footage in. So the Alex Jones weightlifting whiskey drinking scene would also be one of those moments that I couldn't like leave out of the movie. I'm
getting that like this host Don Lemon is a little bit upset because he feels like, oh, you're including stuff, footage of Alex Jones that makes him look good, or at least doesn't make him look bad. Why did you do that? Because they're probably of the perspective of, if you're going to have him on, you have to be always condemning him because you're platforming hate or fake news otherwise. And so I think they're probably perturbed that Andrew Callaghan, which, by the way, most of his stuff is largely humorous. He was basically the long-form version of Side Talk NYC. They're upset that he's keeping in funny moments of Alex Jones when, Alex Jones is the type of dude who is always going to get crazy moments. So, of course, there are going to be things where it's like, yeah, I'm going to leave this in and let people laugh at him because it's just like a natural thing.
For sure.
One thing that also stood out was what you heard from people when it comes to like conspiracy theories. There were parts where like children were shouting conspiracy theories, and I wondered as you talked to these people if you got the sense that they actually believed what they were saying, or what your takeaway was.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people, believe what they're saying. I just think that the echo chambers in the media, especially more fringe media that a lot of these people are consuming, is pretty all-encompassing, and especially the mythology of QAnon consumed a lot of people's lives during this period of time. And it kind of just became everything they wanted to fight for up until the Capitol riot. So that
I wonder if he's going to do something similar on the mainstream media, because I think that would be, the mainstream media, they're kind of like two sides of like the same coin when it comes to like the whole like outrage culture. So it'd be interesting to see if he does a sequel kind of focusing on that.
A particular scene where I spoke with that family in Georgia, where it was like that the structure and whole basis of their family was based upon Q and following that kind of lore. It was definitely unsettling sure. But yeah, it's interesting to see where it is now, because I guess hard QAnon stuff has kind of dissipated in terms of no one posts on the Q boards anymore, but it's kind of bled into mainstream conservative thought.
Mm-hmm. I do think we should point out a lot of those conspiracy.
Yeah, no one follows QAnon, but QAnon still is a very a big grasp on right-wing culture.
These are not from legitimate media. That's from social media and websites where these things are pushed in dark corners of the internet.
Oh yeah, but it's people spend their whole time in these dark corners of the internet, so it feels very real to them, especially because I think the biggest problem is probably media literacy and taking a lot of this information that's false as fact, because of you're seeing it on Facebook, you're seeing it on Newsmax, you're seeing it on One American News Network, places like that.
Andrew,
y'all saw this in my Discord today because I posted an update on a news story that I was following, and I had to retract or issue a correction because I was wrong. I saw something on social media, and while the scenario was very similar, I thought that it was an update to the story that I had previously mentioned, when in reality it was referring to a completely different scenario, which it was similar, but it wasn't exactly the same. So I had to issue a correction. So yeah, Googling after you read a headline is very important. That's actually kind of what I did because I saw the update and I was like, oh, interesting. Wait a minute, let me look up and send in the link of the citation of this happening. And that's how I found out that, it wasn't what I thought it was.
Callaghan, thank you very much. Best of luck with this. This Place Rules debuts on HBO and streams on HBO Max. That's on December 30th.